Welcome to my kitchen. If you've been here, you might know that we are about to renovate this kitchen. If you've not been here, welcome, and I will tell you about my kitchen renovation plans. I wanted to share some details with y'all. We have finally narrowed some things down and I've got a lot of ideas. I wanted y'all to get to be a part of that, and also I wanted y'all's ideas. I wanted to kind of pick your brain and see what y'all thought, and if you had any other ideas, so any kind of feedback. Anytime you are designing something or thinking about any kind of project you're about to undertake, sometimes there's a lot of moving parts with something, and that's the case with this kitchen. There's a lot of moving parts, and trying to figure out exactly what I want, what's going to look best, design elements, but also what's going to make the whole project be as seamless and as fast as possible, because I don't want my kitchen to be out of commission for a long time because I cook so much. So trying to kind of set everything up to where it'll be quick and easy. So I wanted to talk to y'all today about that, show you some design things and get your feedback. I come over here to the window because I think the lighting is better. It's about to storm, so I don't know how great the light will be coming in from this window because it's getting kind of dark outside. For those of you who don't know, this is or was my aunt and uncle's house. So I spent many a nights growing up here. I ate lots of meals in this kitchen, so it's super nostalgic for me and super special to be in this house and cooking in this kitchen. And so I mentioned it on one of the last videos. My uncle and my grandpa built these cabinets. Now, they were not cabinet builders, but I love these cabinets. I would not ditch these cabinets for the world. I love them, but they just need a little bit of TLC. So one of the main things that we want to do is we want to sand the cabinets and we want to stain them. I have my heart set on the early American stain. Hold on one second. I think Olive needs out. Come here, Olive. Want to go potty before the storm? Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Go potty. So back to the cabinets. We want to sand them. We want to do the early American stain. It'll be a slight different color, but nothing, I don't think that's too dark, nothing too light, somewhere in the middle. Now, countertops. I think I have finally decided on I think it's called Pebble Beach, the white quartz. I thought about it because we have that same countertop in our bathrooms, but it's a little bit more of a brown color, and originally I thought, I think that's really what I want, but if we have brown cabinets, brown countertop, brown walls, it's too much brown. It's going to be too much, and I think the white will really offset it and make it pop. And I was concerned, what if white will stain really easy? But I feel like I will be pretty careful. I don't think I really do crazy things now. And I know with quartz you have to be careful not to set hot stuff on the countertop, but I've never done that. I've never done that to any countertop I've had, so I don't think I'm not really afraid that I'll do that. So this countertop that we currently have is countertop that my dad and Austin built when we were moving in. So I would keep this countertop. I genuinely like it, but when we moved in, we were in a rush because I was 7 months pregnant. I was big, I was tired, I was hot. And I wanted to just be in and be done, because living when you're moving and you can't use everything in your house, and there was still stuff we were trying to do to the house, and so even, here comes the rain, really even before the countertop was a year old, they just started fading. There's a spot behind my sink that you can poke it and you can see it's very soft. It's pretty much almost rotted, and I have been meticulous about keeping the back of the sink dry. There's other spots where that finish has just wore completely off. Now, my parents had the same countertops. Back in 2012, my parents renovated their kitchen, and they were going to go in with black Formica. They bought the Formica, I think, from Lowe's, and my dad accidentally broke it in half getting it in the house. Like, that's how cheaply made it was. And so at that point, they were not out of debt yet, and we did not have a huge budget for the kitchen, so my dad made the countertops. But we put coat after coat after coat of polyurethane on the countertops, so much so much so that for months we had to use like these little plastic thin cutting boards on the counter just for anything we did, to make sure that it didn't, you know, dent the finish. And to this day they are still sealed, and they're not coming unsealed and really rough like mine are right now. So there is the cabinets and the countertop, and I'll put in here where you can see we did take one cabinet down and stain, which if you've been on the channel you may have already seen that, and we tried out different stains. So I can actually see the white countertop next to the early American stain. I think that's gonna look really nice. So some other things that we want to do. The piece that's up around the top of the cabinets, I don't know what to do about that. So give me some thoughts. We can paint the board that's there. We could put a new board there. We could do new trim. I definitely would like to do new trim because we had the ceilings redone in this house when we moved in, because they were popcorn ceilings, and my aunt and uncle had actually in this main part of the house had the ceilings Spanish laced, but whoever did it, I don't really know what happened, but it started peeling really bad, and so we had them redone. But of course, if you redo a ceiling and you run it up next to molding that's already there, there's only so much you can do to hide that. So it wasn't really an issue in the living room, but here in the kitchen, you can see where it runs right up to the molding on the top of the cabinets, and it's kind of messy. So I think if we got a thicker type molding, it would hide that. As far as the actual cabinet hardware, the pulls, we're gonna keep those. I think we might have to, because there's already holes drilled for them, and they're kind of a unique size, I feel like. But two, I love them. We cleaned them. We hit them with, I think, Purple Power, which is a really nasty cleaner that you really don't want to use or be around. And it got them good enough for me. You know, they're just kind of like antique brass looking, so that will be good, especially with those new hinges. So I got my notes here because I knew there was so much kitchen stuff I wanted to talk about and I didn't want to forget. So one really big thing that I'm super excited about, Backsplash. So Katie mentioned to me recently, Corey, what about a backsplash? And I said, oh, I've never thought about that. I just figured it was too expensive or we're not gonna have the time. And then the more I started thinking about it, I don't really like tile backsplash. That's just me. And I thought, what about peel and stick wallpaper? It's really coming down out there. What about peel and stick wallpaper as backsplash? I found a website called Love vs Design. This is the coolest wallpaper website I have found because they have tons and tons of designs, but when you click on them, you can change the color. So if you say, wow, I love that print, but I wish the colors were just tweaked just a little bit, you can do that. So that has been awesome. I've been playing around on there. I'm going to show you some designs I've been playing around with. I've been trying so many different things, and that has been so fun. One thing that I feel like I've settled on, let me know your thoughts, is doing some kind of green, like a sage green, or our living room is like a really pretty green, something like that, because if it's brown or white, I think it's just gonna blend in with the cabinets and the countertop. But I don't want it to be such a pop of color that it's just crazy. And I'm not really a blue person, and I thought even about almost like some kind of like neutral burnt orange type color, and I think maybe that would just be too much. So I've settled on perhaps a green, and I thought maybe for a pattern, I want something that has, I feel silly saying this, but it's the best descriptive word I have, something that has a real organic pattern. There's some that have squares or stripes or a super uniform pattern. I don't want that. I just want something that's flowy. And some of the designs that I've been messing around with on there, they are floral. They might be vines or flowers. There's so many different ones. There's some that have birds in them, which I love. There's one particular design that does have a wider ivory type background, but then there's so much green foliage with the birds, so I wonder about that. You can also order samples from that website, which I do plan on doing. There's one other big thing that I would like to do. And I forgot to mention a sink. I forgot all about that. One thing I am most excited about is we're going to replace the sink, and this time we're going to undermount it instead of overmounting it. I love this sink. I wanted like a big white farmhouse sink. The one I originally wanted was enamel, and it was finished, and the sink was like $800 or $900, and I was like, we can't pay $800 or $900 for a sink. I'm not doing that. I just felt like that was ridiculous. And I didn't realize that this sink that we were getting, which was more like $200, it's almost porous. And it does not matter how much I try to keep it clean, I just can't. It stains, and it's kind of frustrating. So we're gonna just do a new sink and do one that is undermounted. That'll be so much easier to clean, and then especially behind the sink there won't be this like strange gap anymore that I'm trying to not let water sit in, and especially because that joint will be caulked, because the countertop will run, you know, 4 or so inches up the wall. Okay, last big thing that we want to do, above the refrigerator. So the refrigerator is just kind of up next to the cabinets, and there's nothing that's built in. I think it looks nice in a kitchen when the refrigerator is built in. So there's cabinets over it, and I think it just gives it a more finished look. So of course we would just have to add on and make it match the best we could. But I would love to build out cabinets above the refrigerator, and then take a board on the opposite side of the refrigerator that's closest to the living room all the way to the ground, which I think you would have to do that anyways. And so it would just kind of be a built-in set of cabinets around the refrigerator, and I think that would make it have a more finished look. But then then I started thinking, and Austin's like, oh no, Courtney, you've been thinking. How cool would it be, because you're gonna have that like exterior board running to the floor on the kind of kitchen side of on the living room side of the refrigerator. What if you put horizontal shelves coming off of that? Now they couldn't be very deep, or else they're gonna run come out too far and kind of get in the way of the walkway between the kitchen and the living room. But I thought, what about if you just run horizontal shelves and have a little bit more storage? I think it would also just look really neat. And then I let myself think some more, and I thought, if you did that, what if between the shelves you took that wallpaper that was Backsplash wallpaper and run between the shelves? I don't know. What do y'all think? Does that sound cool, or is that just gonna be too much? So that's really kind of the big stuff that we're thinking about. Also, every window in this house needs to be replaced. We're not in a rush. We're taking our time. But one thing we thought about, we're still thinking about it, don't know if we'll do it, is while we have this mega undertaking here of the kitchen, we thought we might, I don't know if we will, have the window above the sink replaced and just get that out of the way. I'm not sure though. Last things. If you have stuck with me this far, thank you. Last things. This shelf behind me, this awesome shelf. This is so cool with the gimbal, y'all. If I just do this, then it follows me. Is that not so cool? This shelf right here. I want a curtain for this shelf, and that would be great for the canned goods, because there's a window right here, and it doesn't, I don't think the canned goods are getting that much sun from it, but regardless, it would be nice for them to be protected. It might be nice just to, you know, if you wanted to keep that closed and have a cleaner look. I want to get curtains for this cabinet, but instead of having a rod that is just installed at the top and curtains to the floor, I thought, how cute would it be, especially on the bottom of this cabinet, because there's some height, and I want to somehow figure out like a shelving system, even if it was like individual shelves I bought and slid under there. I want to you to take advantage of the height under there. Little curtain rods, just some of the really small thin ones with like mini curtains for each shelf. I think that'd be pretty cute. So you'd have this, then you'd have it for this one, and then at the floor. So that's something that we're thinking about. That's kind of, I guess, last priority. Finally, in the kitchen cabinets, we have liner, and every time you put something in and out, that liner moves, and it's so aggravating. I would love to do contact paper in all the drawers, in all the cabinets, and then it would also make things so easy to clean, because you could just have a paper surface to wipe. So just another thing adding on to this list, but that's another thing we would like to do. I think that'd just make it so much nicer. And also, I would love, because I use my kitchen so much, y'all, I would love to think and also just go through my stuff and figure out what I don't use and get rid of it. But think about better organization in my kitchen cabinets. So right now, like, all my towels just sit on this shelf and they fall everywhere. just different maybe little systems of organization to where I feel like it'd be easier to use on a daily basis. So that is all my kitchen plans. That's all I can think of at the moment. I'm so excited about it though, because I spend probably 80 to 90% of my time in the kitchen. I cook a lot, especially now in this summer has been canning and preserving season. I spend so much of my time in here, and my goal is I just want it to be practical. I want it to be a place where I feel like I can work well and I'm not worried about the countertops coming apart and rotting. And so at my old house, we had laminate, and I would just spray the countertops at the end of the day, maybe sometimes more than once a day, and wipe them down. I can't do that here because it's too much for the wood. And so I end up just like wetting a paper towel, and there's just not much you can put on them because it's eating that coating off. So I just feel like my countertops are never clean, and that's been frustrating. I want to get like a magnetic knife block because my knife block is huge. It's like a self-sharpening one, which is nice, but just little things like that. Would there be stuff I could put away and get off my countertops to have a better workspace? Just different things. And I have just been so excited thinking about it, and just thankful to God that we're able to do this. And at the old house, you know, I actually liked my pink laminate countertops, but the fire engine red cabinets were not my favorite. They grew on me, and I got to a point where I didn't even notice them. But so thinking about actually being able to completely like design a kitchen and get it just the way I want it is very exciting. It's a blessing. And my goal is and I've been praying that God would help me and guide me, because there's a lot of moving parts, and He knows the right timing. He knows the best way for it to work out. But let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you think these design elements are gonna be nice, if you think it's a good choice. Let me know just practical advice, what you think about it. Any of those things as we are moving forward. We're gonna have the guy who done all the work on this house. He done work on our old house. We're gonna have him look at, see if that's something he could do, and then we'll see if we can, you know, afford it at this time and see what we think. So that's where we're at. But I'm trying to do all my little design decisions in the meantime, so we can try to make it a smooth thing. So if you have made it to the end of this video, thank you very much. Again, feel free to give me your advice. I really want your advice, and tell me what you think. Help me think about this with all the moving parts. You know, we done a lot of house update videos at our old house when we first moved in, and at this house too, but it's been a little while since we had some home content, and I think it's always fun to just see people's choices. I love seeing what other people like and what designs they can come up with. It's very interesting. As always, thank you for watching. God bless you, God keep you, and I will see you on the next one.